How to restore an old photo. Here I'll share some helpful tips with you on how to restore your images in Adobe Photoshop and keep your memories in great shape so that you can enjoy them for many more years to come. Depending on which version of Photoshop you may have access to the new Neural Filters tool, which can speed up the process a lot. But fret not, you can also restore your photos manually. I'll share how to do this later. First, make sure you scan your photo onto your computer or device in the highest resolution possible. This is easy to miss, yet it's a vital step. Once you've opened your scanned image file in Photoshop, it's best practice to duplicate the original photo layer, just in case we need to return to the original image for whatever reason during editing. Within the Layers panel, select the image layer, right-click and select Duplicate Layer. The keyboard shortcut for this is Ctrl-J on Windows and Command-J on Mac. Now let's crop our photo so we can have a better composition of our subject. Your photo may have the subject in your scan perfectly aligned, so this step may not be necessary for you. On the toolbar, select the Crop tool or simply press C on the keyboard, and you will see the tool has been initialized on the layer. Grab the handlebars and move them around to fit your perfect crop. You can also rotate your image here too. You can click the tick button on the top of the toolbar, or the easiest option, hit Enter on your keyboard. With the latest versions of Photoshop, you'll have access to the Neural Filters tool. This is a cloud-based AI learning tool. If you prefer not to use a tool like this, or don't have the latest version of Photoshop, later I'll show you how to manually edit your photo. With your duplicated layer selected, click on Filter in the top navigation bar, then click Neural Filters. This will open a new window within Photoshop where you can see the various filters and tools to enhance images. The one we're interested in using first is Photo Restoration Filter. You might not have this filter downloaded yet, so please go ahead and let this download. To use this filter, click on the sliding button to activate it. The filter will immediately begin to process its default settings. Please let it finish this operation and you'll see instant results. You'll also have different options to change using the sliders to control how much of a particular effect you want applying to your image. When you're satisfied with the changes you've made using this effect, click OK in the bottom right corner. We have a small area of our photo that has a tear from when we scanned the photo in. Let's repair this before we move on to colorizing our image. Select the Clone Stamp tool from the toolbar. Alternatively, press S on your keyboard. Before using the tool on the image, I find it's best to adjust the tool's brush first. With your cursor over the image, press right mouse click and this will open the Brush Options panel. You can adjust the size and hardness of the brush here. When you're ready, find an area of your image that you want to clone and press and hold down the Alt key. This will change your cursor into a target and you may choose where you wish to clone your image from. Right-click the area and let go of the Alt key. Now move your cursor to the area you want to paint over. Click and hold down the left mouse button and paint away. Let go of your left mouse button when you are finished. You can also change your clone selection at any time by pressing down on the Alt key and clicking on a new area to paint from. Now let's colorize our photo. Head back up to the top navigation bar and click on Filters and select Neural Filters again. This time we want to use the Colorize filter. Ensure this filter is downloaded and click on the toggle to activate it. The filter will then process the image using the cloud-based AI. Once it's complete, you'll be able to adjust the color balances of the image and other properties until you see fit. When you're satisfied with your image, click on OK in the bottom right. Now we're happy with our final result, it's time to export our photo out as a high-resolution JPG so that we can either print out our image or share with our friends and family online. Simply head back up to the top navigation bar, select File, Export, Export As. This will open the export window. From here, select JPG from the File Settings Format drop-down. You can configure any other settings here that you want your exported file to have. When you're finished, click on Export, and you're done. If you want to restore your photo manually, to begin with, we'll need to use a combination of the Spot Healing brush and the Clone Stamp tool to remove the tears and scratches on our photo. We already used the Clone Stamp tool earlier and the Spot Healing brush works in a similar way, but to recap, make sure you set up your brush options first before working on the photo. To do this, right mouse click with your cursor over the image and this will open the Brush Options panel. To start with, I'll use the Spot Healing brush to help remove some of the scratches and folds on the photo. This tool doesn't require the user to select a target area like the Clone Stamp tool. Instead, Photoshop analyzes the photo and determines which part of the image is the closest match to paint over the area the user wishes to. Since this tool isn't completely accurate, the undo function, Ctrl-Z or Command-Z, is your friend here. If you're having trouble removing some of the blemishes with the spot healing brush, then it's best to swap over to the clone stamp tool. Again, this tool works in a fairly similar way to the above, but you need to select a target area by pressing and holding down the Alt key in the photo. Moving on to colorizing our photo. We need to create a new empty layer. Keyboard shortcut is Shift-Control-N or Shift-Command-N. Feel free to name your layers for easier reference. To start, we're going to paint a basic skin tone. To do this, use the color picker tool by double-clicking on the foreground color on the toolbar and find a color that matches in the new window. Press OK or hit Enter on the keyboard to confirm your selection. Now select the brush tool. The keyboard shortcut is B, and right mouse click on your image and find a suitable brush to begin with. Start by painting over the image that shows skin. Once you're finished, move your cursor over to the Blend Modes drop-down in the Layers panel and select Color. If you need to remove any painting that has entered a different area of your image, use the Eraser tool. Keyboard shortcut is E. This works the same way as the brush tool, but will remove anything instead. Once you've got the hang of this, you'll need to repeat this process by creating new layers using the color picker to select different colors for each part of your image. You'll then need to use the brush tool to paint over the image and change the blending mode to color. Let's enhance our color layers further by adding some shadows and highlights to the image. Create a new layer and select a white color. Use the brush tool to add smaller brush strokes to the area on the image that would have natural highlights. When you've added the highlights, change the blending mode to soft light. You can also change the opacity of the layer next to the blending mode drop-down menu. To add shading, swap your brush's color to a darker color. Create a new layer and use the brush tool again to add shading to your image. Change the layer's blending mode to soft light and adjust the opacity as you wish. If you're satisfied with your final result, then it's time to export your image. Move your cursor up to the top navigation bar, select File, Export, Export As. This will open the export window. From here, select JPG from the File, Settings, Format drop-down. You can configure any other settings here that you want your exported file to have. When you're finished, click on Export. That's all there is to it.